Hi champs, it's me, your very own Bhoomika Ma'am. Well, let me start by shooting a fact at you which you already know. Math syllabus for JEE is massive, it's vast. Also, compared to physics and chemistry, the questions in mathematics are more lengthy, more brainstorming, more time consuming, calculation heavy, because of which it's pretty difficult for students to perform well in mathematics. It's difficult for them to crack more and more questions in mathematics. And it's even more difficult to cross the 99 percentile barrier in mathematics. Yes or no? But hey, I'm not here to demotivate you. No, rather, I am here to share with you a solution, a foolproof solution, a very strong, a very powerful solution, which right now, at this point in time, when you're so close to your JEE Main exam, can prove to be magical for your preparation, trust me. This solution, if you abide by, if you follow, if you implement, will not just level up your preparation, it will actually increase your speed of climbing up the 99 percentile ladder in mathematics. What is this solution? Well, you can see right here, I have 11 chapters from all across your math syllabus, and not just the chapters. From within these chapters, I have cherry-picked the concepts and the topics and the ideas which are NTA favorites, which have been repeatedly asked, and these, if you master, just these, if you master at this point in time when you're so close to your examination, just these chapters and from within them, these topics, if you master, you know what? Your performance in JEE Main in mathematics is going to be like a rock star. So are you ready? Grab your pens and notebooks because now it's time to ace just these 11 chapters and from within them, the topics which I will be sharing with you. Let's start. At number 1, we have none other than binomial theorem. As per 2024, 24 questions have been asked just from this chapter. And if you ask me what are the subtopics which we have to primarily focus upon from this chapter, well guys, you have finding the general term, term independent of x, number of integral terms, rational terms, irrational terms, remainder problems for which you have a very nice shortcut as well. I have shared it with you. Properties of binomial coefficients. I know this is deleted from the syllabus in a formal sense, but questions from this have been asked and hence you cannot miss out on studying them. Series results, which means summation R NCR, summation R square NCR, summation R NCR whole square, summation NCR upon R plus 1. All these results you have to remember on your fingertips. Let's move ahead to the next chapter. Here, sequence and series comes as the second chapter. 36 questions just in 1 year 2024 have been asked from this chapter. And if I talk about the subtopics involved, guys, very carefully look here. You have AP, GP, AGP and also series which is not directly AGP but convertible to AGP. You have telescopic series, extremely important. AM-GM relationship, kind of it's losing the trend right now, but of course to have an idea about it, not a harm at all, because AM-GM inequality or AM-GM relationship, the condition upon which it is true, all of this also is involved in solving questions from calculus. So might as well study it. Then common terms of two APs. Very important again. How do you calculate the common difference as well? Very important. Next is matrices and determinants. In total, 41 questions have been asked just in 2024 from this chapter. And if I talk about the subtopics on which you have to separately focus upon, extra focus. Properties of adjoint, again, I have talked about all these properties, taught you and made you practice on this channel itself. Properties of adjoint are very important, highly popular. Again and again, questions have been asked from here. System of equations. System of equations, again, do not use Cramer's rule to crack the questions of system of equations. I have shared with you a shortcut. Please use that, save your time and kill these questions. Apart from that, pattern based questions upon matrices. When you have a matrix raised to a higher power, how do you find out some powers of that matrix and then observe the pattern and then conclude about the final result. Also, characteristic equation is something which I would like to add, which is not supremely important, but again, I would want you to please study this. I have taught you this. And I know many times in questions, if you know the characteristic equation, the length of the question just reduces to half. If it is originally a 6 to 7 minute problem, if you apply the result of characteristic equation, it becomes a 2 minute, 3 minute problem. So what is the harm? Definitely learn the characteristic equations for a 2x2 and a 3x3 matrix. All right. Moving ahead, next up we have functions, everybody. From here, 31 questions have been asked in just 1 year, which is 2024. Very important, easy to master topic. And from within this topic also, you must know that the questions on domain and range, also you must be aware of the graphs of many basic type of functions like your diff function, your fractional part, your log function. All of these you should be very well versed with. Transformation of graphs, guys, this is very underestimated. You don't know where, when, how this topic will come into action in your paper and will test you upon how do you shift a function upward or downward? How do you shift the graph leftward and rightward? Horizontal shift or vertical shift. How do you flip it about x-axis or the y-axis? When you take negative of the function, what happens? Stretching, contracting. So all of these things should be very, very much clear in your head. You should have utmost clarity about playing around with the graphs of functions. Next is functional equations, extremely important, very, very important, and also questions based upon composition of function. Again, very, very important. I am not denying the fact that one function, many one function, and also one more topic, which is number of functions. Number of functions, wherein also the question asks you number of one functions, number of into functions, onto functions, all of these are also very important. And again, I have taught all this in a very short and sweet video, which is there on this channel itself. Please go check it out. It is one of the most feared topics and I will make you master it in just a couple of minutes. Next up is, guys, definite integration. Definite integration holds the weightage of around 35 questions in just 1 year. Not a joke, extremely important, guys, extremely important. From within this chapter, you have what? Properties. All the properties are important. You should be having an idea of all the properties, but majorly, if I have to say, even odd property, obviously the King's property. Very, very, very important. Newton-Leibniz rule, without a doubt, very important. Limit of a sum, yes, formally deleted from the syllabus, but I think now you're mature enough to understand that we don't have to trust NTA when it comes to syllabus deletion, especially in mathematics. Especially in mathematics, we are not going to believe NTA upon this, be it limit of a sum, be it telescopic series. All of these things which they have said are not going to be asked are being asked, be it AGP, be it properties of binomial coefficients, all of these things have been asked. Are you understanding? Very much important subtopics from definite integration. Must master, guys. Must master. When it comes to differential equations, you have 33 questions. 33 questions, which is the weightage of this chapter in just 1 year. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And from within this chapter, all you need to master is linear differential equations and equations which are reducible to linear, which is nothing but your Bernoulli's equation. Also exact. Now exact is picking up popularity from last 1 to 2 years. This was not in the syllabus formally, but if you know exact, if you know how to actually solve a differential equation using the exact method where you compress your expressions into exact differentials, if you are aware of all those formulas, if you are having a mastery upon compressing the long expressions using exact differentials, literally these are big time saver techniques, bache. And that is why I have written exact, because there are tons of questions which have been asked in the past which could have been solved very easily, very conveniently and very quickly using the exact differential method. Making sense? Next up is your LCD, everyone. This is holding the weightage of 22 plus 17, which means what? 39 questions. Can you imagine? And this is a very easy chapter to master. This is literally a very easy chapter to master. You have LCD. Look at the subtopics. You already would know. From within LCD, you have LH rule, the L'Hopital rule, then solving the limit using the series expansion, the results based upon standard limit, guys, please take a look. Also from continuity and differentiability, 2 types of questions which are repeatedly asked in the paper. From continuity, you have to find out the value of unknown when you are given that the function is continuous at a point. And from differentiability, computing the number of points of non-differentiability. Again, for this, there is a shortcut. Very soon, I will be sharing the shortcut on this channel itself. So stay subscribed. Stay subscribed. Guys, all these topics which I'm sharing with you, these are high ROI topics, high return on investment. Of course, in mathematics, we have questions which are multi-conceptual. So we can't actually leave any chapter. But by now, you have established an idea over all the chapters, right? You have some idea about all the chapters. Now it's time to solidify those which actually will give you return on the D-Day. Now it's time to make those chapters and those topics and subtopics and results and concepts concrete, which actually will give you the most return in the paper. And these are those chapters, these are those topics. Got it? Up next, what is it? Vector and 3D geometry. Well, from vectors 33 and from 3D 44 questions have been asked in your 2024 JEE Main exam, just in 1 year. But if I talk about 2023, there were 48 questions from vectors and around 71 questions from 3D. Can you imagine the weightage? Can you imagine around 2 to 3 questions just from this chapter, vector and 3D geometry? And from within this chapter, I know a lot of stuff has been deleted from 3D. Planes is completely deleted, which of course you don't have to study. But what do you actually have to study? What do you actually have to study? From within vectors, guys, I will not suggest you to leave anything. Here I have written a selected number of subtopics, but from within vectors, please, everything you have to study. Let's move ahead and talk about STP and VTP, which formally again are deleted. You are not going to not study them. You will study them because eventually it's made up of dot and cross product only. So STP and VTP, all the properties, how do you open the bracket, how do you actually expand, everything should be clear. In fact, cross of 2 crosses should also be clear to you. Cross product of 2 crosses should also be clear to you. Moreover, questions like this, very important, very famous, oh my god, super dear to JEE Main. R cross A equals R cross B. This is cross actually. R cross A equals R cross B. It's like this. R cross A equals R cross B. You take everything to one side, take out R common using the distributive property of the cross and then solve further. Are you understanding? Next up is your 3D, from where intersection of 2 lines, foot of perpendicular, image, for which you have your formulas, and you know how exactly to derive, how exactly to solve a question based upon these concepts. How do you find the foot of perpendicular? How do you find the image? Also distance between lines. Very, very important. Shortest distance between 2 lines. Very, very, very important. Highly repeated concept in the paper. Highly, very highly. Okay, next up is PNC and prop. Again, picking up popularity very, very nicely. PNC and prop, people, 23 plus 18 questions just in 1 year, which means what? 41 questions is the weightage. And these 2 chapters are interrelated, completely interrelated. You can't do one without the other. Especially you can't do prop without PNC, isn't it? What are some of the topics which are highly repeated and you must know them, you must master them, you must practice questions upon them. Even if you practice 3 to 4 questions based upon each concept, it's going to be clear to you. It's going to be clear to you. Let's start. Bayes theorem from probability, extremely important, highest weightage topic. Next up is independent events, very important, the condition you should know. Conditional probability, very, very important. From permutations and combinations, you have permutations involving repeated objects. Rank of a word, for which again you have a beautiful shortcut. Divisibility problem, especially the divisibility of 11 is taking a popularity right now, very, very much highly popular. Then you have string, this is A's extra, string and gap method, also grouping and distribution. Again, over this topic, I have made a video, a short and sweet video, kept on the Rankplus J English channel itself. Just go watch it and this will be mastered. Is it making sense? Very high weightage, people, you are not supposed to leave it. And lastly, what I have is straight lines and circles, and after that I have ellipse and hyperbola. So from straight lines and circles, what do you think? What do you think? The weightage is 30 plus 20, which makes it around 50 questions in the paper. Can you imagine? From straight lines, of course, different equations of straight lines, that is so very, very important. But apart from that, something which is very recently, in a very latest fashion, picking up popularity is the centers of a triangle. Your orthocenter, incenter, circumcenter, all these are picking up popularity highly. And all the properties based upon them, all of them should be on your fingertips. Centers of a triangle, everything about them, all the properties, the features, the questions based upon them should be very clear to you. Next up is what? Circles. Relation between 2 circles, you know, when they touch them at a point or when they intersect each other at 2 points, what happens? How many common tangents do you get? All the conditions based upon that, very, very important. Tangency, especially the slope form. How do you write the equation of tangent in the slope form for a circle? What is the condition on the y-intercept respective to slope form? And also family of circles, supremely important. Supremely important is family of circles. Lastly, I have ellipse and hyperbola, everybody. From here you have 13 plus 8, which makes it around 21 questions from ellipse and hyperbola. Around 21 questions have been asked in just 1 year. Very important and very easy to master. This is one of the lowest hanging fruits. Why am I saying so? Because even though there are many subtopics in this chapter, I know there are many subtopics in ellipse and hyperbola, but why is it easy to master? Because the questions which are asked from this topic are very predictable and very repeated category. They are of a very repeated category. They will ask you questions upon the basic terminologies like the focus, the directrix, the latus rectum, all of this only. They will shift the ellipse or the hyperbola, and then they'll ask you the same things. Now tell me the focus. Now tell me the equation of directrix. Now tell me the eccentricity. Now tell me the length of latus rectum, all of this. So one part is this. Next up is equation of tangent and normal, because a very common category of questions which is asked from here is the question about common tangent. Again, I'm saying, I know this has been deleted from your syllabus, but you know we don't have to trust NTA on this. Tangent and normal, extremely important, people. Please make sure you remember their equations, their conditions of tangency. It will be very useful when you calculate the answers about the common tangent questions. Next up, as I've written, is shifted ellipse and hyperbola. So these were your topics. What are the topics? Quickly tell me. These were your topics. You have binomial theorem, sequence and series, matrices and determinants. You have functions, differential equation, definite integration. You also have LCD, right? You have PNC, you have vector 3D, you have straight lines and circles, and ellipse hyperbola. Now, if you talk about coordinate geometry, it actually consists of 5 chapters only: straight lines, circles, ellipse, hyperbola, and parabola. If I have to prioritize, if you ask me, ma'am, out of these two, if you ask us to prioritize, what should we prioritize? My answer would be ellipse and hyperbola. Even though the weightage of straight lines and circles is more, but let me tell you a reality, the questions from straight lines and circles are slightly tougher, slightly more challenging. They will give you a bit of a struggle and will cost you a lot of your time in the paper. But questions from ellipse and hyperbola, they will also be asked in the paper, and they will be pretty easy to crack based upon your direct formulas of eccentricity, A, B, and E, the relationship between A, B, and E, or as I told you, find the focus, find the equation of directrix, etc., or based upon some of the basic questions of common tangent. So that is why the level of difficulty in the questions of ellipse and hyperbola is pretty low. The time consumption in these questions is pretty less as compared to straight lines and circles. So any day, if right now, if you ask me in coordinate geometry, what should we prioritize? It will be right now ellipse and hyperbola. If straight line circle is already your strength, very good, strengthen it even more, revise it even more, and hence master both of them, like straight line circles also, ellipse hyperbola also. But from my side, there are 10 topics, removing ellipse, removing straight lines and circles, but involving them, including them, it is 11 topics. 11 chapters basically, and from within them, the topics I have already shared with you. Okay, dokie, then on this note, it's me, Bhoomika, signing off. Please don't forget, these are the chapters which are highest ROI chapters. Right now, when you're so close to your examination, as I told you, you have to completely focus your attention, your energy, your time onto those areas which will give you the maximum return. You can't be wasting your time on chapters which are very low weightage or which give you super tough questions in the exam, and hence it is difficult for you to crack them. You cannot be wasting your time upon these topics, guys. That is why make sure you are taking a note of these chapters and the subtopics as well. Write them on a sheet and keep ticking whatever you are getting done with. Also, as I told you on the channel, there are many wonderful sessions which have been taken, and they have been taken keeping in mind the same idea that in less time available to us, we have to maximize the output. In less time, maximize the output, and hence whatever questions and content which has been discussed here is the highest ROI content. Highest ROI content, highest ROI questions. Definitely watch these sessions, master them, master all these topics which you are scared of, be it number of functions, be it properties of adjoint, be it tricks of PNC, the grouping distribution technique, all of that I have taught here in a very short and sweet manner, and also with the help of highest ROI questions. The analysis is done by me, the research is done by me, the last 10-year trend has been completely studied by me, and after that all these sessions have been made. So right now, please study hard, which is non-negotiable. You have to study hard. You have to make a very strong timetable. You have to fix with the timetable. Fix your timetable and run according to the timetable. have a very strict but a very realistic timetable. You have to stick to it and you have to work very hard. But you also have to work smart, right? We don't want to come out of our examination hall on the D-Day and feel the regret of what if. What if I would have paid attention on the highest ROI topics? What if I would have paid more attention on the revision of those questions which are more probable to be asked in the paper? We are not interested in any what ifs. We are not interested in any regret, because we know the pain of discipline is way sweeter than the pain of regret. So stay disciplined, stay consistent. And as I said, there is no question of you studying hard. You have to study hard. You have to put in your best foot forward. You have to give it your all right now, because you are just a couple of weeks away from your actual exam day. But don't forget, study hard, but in the right direction. Study hard, but in the right direction, which is exactly what we call studying smart. Right direction means grab all these 11 chapters and from within these chapters, the topics which I shared with you, and start practicing them, revising them accordingly. All right? All the very best. If there is any other doubt, any other query, any confusion, leave it down in the comments below and I would be more than glad to revert back to you. Thank you so much. It's me, Bhoomika, signing off.